the right word. Scalp Pigmentation, I think, is the right word. Ian Watson is the co-founder of His Hair Clinic. That's hishairclinic.com. You can have a look at exactly what I'm talking about. Ian, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm calling in from Marbella.
You're in Marbella?
Yes.
Well, I was only there myself yesterday.
The weather wasn't too good yesterday. It was lots of rain, but today's picked up.
Well, it was Monday. You know, the day before I was there, it was about 26, 27. It was all right. Have you bumped into the Only Way is Essex people yet?
I haven't, fortunately.
You haven't seen them? Well, when you do, give them a slap from us, won't you?
I'll pass on your regards.
Listen, you do something very, very different with bald men, don't you? A completely different procedure altogether.
Yeah, we call it a cosmetic enhancement. It's what we call scalp pigmentation.
Yep.
We developed it myself on my own head 9 years ago. And basically it gives the guys the look of either a shaven hairstyle with a hairline, or if they're losing their hair and it's getting quite thin, we can make the density appeal much thicker, so it doesn't look as if it's thinning and it's receding.
Gotcha. So is this essentially tattooing the scalp?
It's a very specialist form of micropigmentation. So we don't use tattoo inks, we don't use tattoo techniques or a tattoo machine. We've developed our own cosmetic range of pigments, we have our own system, we have our own machinery and our own needles, and the needles are much more finer, and the way we actually insert the pigments into the dermal layer of the skin is completely different, and we do it over the course of treatment. So in essence, to the layman, they think it's a tattoo, but in reality, that's where it stops and where our expertise and our artistic skills come into their own.
I mean, they do look incredible, I have to say. I mean, they look amazing.
Well, thank you. They need to, because obviously, it's a very visual thing on the top of your head, and the last thing you want people to think you've got something drawn on there. So it's very natural, even from very close inspection, and we've developed the techniques and the colours, so you can't really see what's not real and what is real hair.
Is the only trouble, though, that's the only style you can have?
Well, if you're limited like a lot of our guys where you haven't got much hair, then yes, that's the only style. But if you've got quite a bit of hair and you've still got a bit of a hairline, then you can grow it out to number 1, number 2, and number 3. But what we're saying now is that this type of hairstyle is very fashionable. It's very acceptable in most modern workplaces now. David Beckham many years ago cut his hair very short. There's lots of guys out there that want to have a short hairstyle, and it's very accessible and it's very easy in terms of the style. Like, if it rains, it's great. If it's sunny, it's great. So, you don't need a hairdryer, you don't need gel, you don't need to wash it. It's kind of wash and go. It's perfect for today's kind of very active, very sporting guy.
So if you're having the full head done, and obviously you do this regularly for guys, what kind of cost is involved in that, Ian?
Well, if you're talking about a full head, you're probably talking about alopecia totalis, which means there's no hair on the head at all. Okay. And someone like that, we're doing the back of the neck, the sides, the top, and they could need 4 or 5 sessions. So you could be looking at anywhere about £3,000 to £3,500. But the amount of work involved to do that, you could be looking at 30 to 40 hours of work.
Wow. So it's full on when you do that.
Oh, it's a massive job, yeah.
And have you noticed an increase in the amount of guys that are looking for a treatment like this?
Well, we have, over the years now, because more and more guys now are more conscious of their looks, and it's like, teeth whitening and lots of different cosmetic procedures. Many years ago it was mainly women, but now guys, I'm not saying they're more vain, but then they're starting to look after themselves. They don't want to get old before their time. And, if you lose your hair, it is quite an aging effect on your visual face. Yeah. So this just puts the hairline back. And I would say to people, it's like if you lose your teeth, or if you lost your eyebrows, you'd want to do something about it, because people think we look quite strange. It's a bit like with losing your hair. You show too much head. So by putting that hairline back on, it frames your face, and straight away it puts everything back into proportion again for you. That's
very true. And it's no longer, it's no longer taboo to have a treatment, it seems.
Well, it is in certain instances, and it's not with our treatment, because it's not that invasive. So, for instance, if someone came to us on a Friday who had got not much hair, and we did our enhancements, if they went back to work on Monday, it'd be a very subtle difference. Now, if a guy came on a Friday and had a week and clearly goes back to work on a Monday, the extreme is drastic. So ours is fairly subtle, and people don't really know what they've had done. They can see something's different, and they look better, but they can't actually put their hand on it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I urge people to go to the website and have a look at the pictures of the stuff you do, Ian, because it is pretty amazing stuff. The website is hishairclinic.com, and just have a look at the procedure that Ian and his team do, because I think it's incredible. I mean, it wouldn't be for everybody, because clearly it's only the one style. It means you're left with that style, I'm guessing, forevermore because of its permanentness. However, it does look extraordinary. We saw Ian on the Frank Skinner show a little while ago and thought, well, we've got to get this fella on for a chat. And it just ties in nicely with the Rooney procedure, etc., etc. On email.